Good evening and welcome to the January 22nd meeting of the Livermore City Council. I call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barrientos.
Present.
Councilmember Branning.
Here.
Councilmember Kick. Here. And Vice Mayor Carling is absent for the record. Mayor Marchand.
Here. Okay, if you will please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have some proclamations and presentations tonight. We've got from the Library Board of Trustees, their annual update. And I believe we have Chair Richard Hunt. Mr. Hunt, love the tie.
Thank you.
The books.
Books and computers too. So 6,187,000. That's a big number. It's an astounding number when you realize that it represents the number of minutes that Livermore people read during the summer reading program this year. That's more than twice the number of minutes of any previous program. It's even more astounding when you understand it's an awesome benchmark of the library's impact on our community. I'm Rich Hunt, Chair of the Board, Library Board of Trustees, and this is our annual report. We'll start off with a little bit about the board. We're an advisory board. We recommend policy. We advise on strategic planning. We're a sounding board for new ideas. And we suggest and endorse. Step closer to the mic. Move the mic closer to me. And suggest and endorse ideas related to strategic objectives. Let's look at the current membership. We have board member Mariana Guzzardo, board member Nancy Oliverietta, and Michelle Ornat, vice chair Lainey Pascal, and myself, the chair, Rich Hunt. Minnie Chopra and Art Ponto served on the board up until May 2023. Last year, I presented our goals for 2023. They were related to access, engagement, learning and literacy, annual events, and a policy review. I've structured the rest of the talk based on accomplishments to those goals. First goal is access. The board encouraged the library to expand its reach for story time. So we had story times in the park, which were very popular. And they also started an ASL story time and a sensory story time. Using grant money, the library purchased mobile hotspots and has used those to get out in the community and bring the library to the people where they are, using those hotspots to register new library cards, or could even check out books. The hotspots are also available in the Library of Things, so people in the community can check these hotspots out and have high-speed internet wherever they are, using the hotspot from the Library of Things. Our next goal was engagement. The board suggested many partnerships with community groups and organizations with the idea of expanding the library's reach into the community. In addition to our long-term allies, these new partnerships will allow the library to reach new places in the community. The Friends of the Livermore Library remain a steadfast and significant partner, funding many of the library's programs. Learning and literacy. The board pushed the media literacy lecture series. Media literacy is an important skill for everyone. I attended these sessions. The speaker was great. The sessions were recorded, so you too can access them if you missed them. Just check out the link on the library's webpage to watch the recordings. The literacy program continues to grow and expand, and there are English language conversation groups occurring outside the library in community, other places in the community. And the adult new reader project is also an important new addition. Annual events. The board works continuously with the library on potential new events and ways to improve existing events, suggesting new ways to promote programs and possible additions to programs to make programs more attractive. For example, the summer reading program was kicked off this year by a carnival, and the carnival had thousands of people come to it and required multiple runs to get more ice cream. At the end of the program, there was a public award drawing, so they had the little raffle for the rewards, and a lot of people came to that also. Excuse me. Cultural events included the Korean Cultural Festival, the Dia del Niño Family Festival, Black History Month events, Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month events, and many others. I went to the Dia del Niño Festival. It was an awesome blend of resources for parents as well as fun things for the kids to do. Large events and programs are important because these events not only bring people to the library, but they also bring the library to people. Library staff can curate items from the collection that are related to the event, and people can see what they can access to the library to learn more. And they can also highlight other library resources, electronic ones, databases related to this topic of the event. Policy review. This was one of Board Member Chopra's focuses, and we've continued to work on them. The idea of making library policies both working for the library, but fair and inclusive and equitable to the public. We continued the work. We looked at two policies this past year, the registration policy and the patron conduct policy. I'm going to switch gears a little now and look at some numbers. These 4 bar charts represent a continuing recovery from the pandemic. You'll see collection use and program attendance have actually risen above 2019 levels. Door count remains lower, but perhaps that's partly because more of the programs are offsite, or they're outdoors, or they're online, or they're asynchronous. Registration spiked in 2022 with the student one card registrations. That's where students can use their school IDs rather than have a library card. Let's look at a few more numbers. We'll just highlight some. Nearly 1 million items were checked out, almost 300,000 visitors in the past year, and volunteer hours have been growing. 10,000 hours, that's about 5 FTE of volunteer labor. Applying lessons from the pandemic, library staff has worked to provide programming in a variety of ways to meet the needs of everyone in the community. So hybrid programs provide both online access and in-person access. Asynchronous programs allow patrons to take an activity and do it at a later date. I'll close by reviewing our goals for the coming year. Engagement. The board will support the library's efforts to develop more programming and services where residents naturally gather. Strategic plan support. The board will continue to review and consider objectives set forth by both the city's plan and the library's plan. And will propose ways that the board can support the efforts to meet those objectives. Annual events. We want to continue to support the events that are working really well, but we want to develop new events, help the library develop new events to reach perhaps a different audience. Board support and advocacy. We're going to work with the library to identify additional ways that we can help them and perhaps advocate for them in the community. And lastly, the policy review. We're going to continue to do that, look at more policies and to ensure that they're fair, diverse, equitable, and inclusive. With that, that's the end of my talk. I'll be happy to take questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Councilmember Barrientos.
Hi, I guess I represent Springtown. How's that library doing? And your 4 different measurements, you calculate those in to that library?
These measurements are all inclusive for all 3 branches. I don't have the Springtown data with me. I'm sure Director Baker could provide some information if you wanted.
Yeah. There's how many hours is that open right now, the Springtown? Do you know that?
Springtown is open 2 afternoons a week, I believe.
It's open all day Tuesday and it's open Thursdays from, I think, 10 to 1.
10 to 1,
So it's open 2 days a week.
2 days a week. Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday.
For comparison, Niles Library is open 1 day a week.
Well, just to give you a little history, I was down in Salinas teaching. Salinas, I guess you know, they closed their libraries for a year. Their funding was gone. They shut them all down and people went crazy. And, you know, one of the biggest towns around did
Right.
not have a library working. I appreciate the library, the one here. I think it's great. When I first walked into it, I couldn't believe how nice it was. But, yeah, some people ask if we can open the one down Springtown a little bit longer, maybe towards after school where the kids could come in and use it, you know, instead of goofing around instead of tagging. They might want to come to the library and do some reading in there. So I just know some kids will gravitate to it and use it, and maybe some parents too.
Right. Yeah, the board's greatly in favor of expanded hours in the libraries. All that requires is money.
That's all, right?
That's all.
Well, and that was one of the things that, any other questions, comments in the library? Okay, so we did a lot of analysis right after the Great Recession, and it turned out that most of the use of the Springtown Library was people bringing back books that they had checked out from the main library, and it was more convenient to return them to Springtown, and then staff brought them back to the main library. But that was one of the major uses for the Springtown Library, was to return books that they had checked out from the main. Now, granted, it is a much larger collection at the Civic Center Library, but I've done a little bit of analysis because you may know that I started my career working at the Hayward Library. And so Hayward is about twice our size, and they have 2 libraries. All of the cities around us have 1 library. And yet the residents of Livermore have access to 3 libraries. I think that's remarkable. Now, granted, the hours at Rincon and Springtown are less than the Civic Center branch, but the fact that they have access to 3 libraries and the one at Springtown, it's I think it's 24-hour access. You know, if you
the
have
easy-
a
the easy
24 access, that's
access is-
pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So I think that having come out of the Great Recession and being able to still provide 3 libraries. In fact, as Councilmember Barrientos pointed out, Salinas just shut theirs down, and that's and the city of Niles, that's 72,000 people in that area, and 70,000 people have access to a library 1 day a week. So I think that the library and the staff here in Livermore have really done a remarkable job to maximize the availability of the assets that we have for the community. And the Library of Things, I just think that's all the mobile hotspots. Those are some tremendous assets that we have. And I'm so proud of the great work that we've done here in Livermore.
Yeah, if you haven't used the Library of Things, I encourage it. My sister lost her engagement ring. I was able to check out a metal detector to help her find the ring. She didn't, as it turns out, she didn't lose it outside, so her cleaning people found the ring eventually. But to just be able to do that
To have
for a
access.
thing that you don't need very often, but all of a sudden you have a need, then that Library of Things is awesome.
Great.
Mayor Marchand, can I just add one thing about Springtown?
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, we've already started, along with our plans for the transition of the Commission for the Arts coming over to the library. One of our other big conversations we've been having is about doing an assessment of the hours over at Springtown, the hours at Rincon, making sure that, you know, the communities are well taken care of, but also trying to find ways that maybe we can rebalance some of those hours. I've worked closely with Director Baker. Of course, he works with the city manager. So hopefully in the coming months, we'll be able to propose some options for the council, the city manager's office to review, so we can get a little bit more support out there. But
Great.
Springtown's as popular as ever, easy access, 8 to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week, and it's as popular as ever. So we're on the right track, I think.
Great. Well, excellent. Well, thank you for the update. And I know that we have been focusing more on Springtown. There's the new art installation that was out there, which I think is quite spectacular. And there's also the conversation about the community garden, which is ongoing. So I appreciate the additional focus on Springtown. And as Mr. Hunt pointed out, it comes down to money and how we can best leverage the resources that we have. But I think that there's been a remarkable job done leveraging those resources to provide the maximum benefit for our constituency. So thank you all for the great work that you're all doing. Appreciate it.
Just a little clarification. Was it the Great Depression or Great Recession?
It was a great recession. Recession. As they say, it's a recession if your neighbor loses your job. It's a depression if you lose yours.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're coming up to 3.2, which is the citywide strategic plan annual update. And Stephanie Egidio will be presenting that. And by the way, just so you know, I absolutely loved that update. That was terrific. But I'll let you get on with the report there. But very well done.
Mr. Mayor, Honorable Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council, this is your City Manager, Mariana Marsh. I'll start just with a couple of remarks. I'm really excited to be here today with the city's first annual strategic plan update. The city of Livermore adopted its first comprehensive strategic plan less than a year ago. And that plan reflects 5-year goals and objectives of every single department. So now that we look back at the first year of that strategic plan, year of 2023, there's quite a lot for us to be proud of and to celebrate. We just heard the presentation from the library to the library board. Multiply that times 9. We have 9 city departments that have amazing stories to share with the community. So Stephanie Egidio, assistant to the city manager, will provide a very brief update on the city's accomplishments. And I will highlight a very brief high-level overview because we have so much to share. But I did want to take a moment and thank our dedicated staff for their daily ongoing efforts to serve our community. And last but definitely not least, wanted to thank you, Mayor Marchand, and members of the City Council for your strategic leadership and support of staff. So with that, we'll turn it over to Ms. Egidio. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Maricheva. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Stephanie Egidio, Assistant to the City Manager, and I am pleased to be here this evening to present the first annual update to the 5-year citywide strategic plan. Just like Mariana said, the annual update is a very high-level overview of the work that was completed by city staff implementing the plan in 2023. And as a reminder, Livermore's 5-year strategic plan is a roadmap that guides the city organization's budget and work plan. The strategic plan reflects the community's values and is informed by the city's mission, vision, and values, and community input received through a variety of sources, including the National Community Survey. The strategic plan is also shaped by many of the organization's guiding documents, such as the general plan, climate action plan, and financial plan. So the strategic plan is a framework for allocating the limited resources in accordance with the organization's goals, investing the city's funds on areas that are deemed most important. And the strategic plan is organized across 5 broad community pillars, and each pillar includes goals and objectives that, when implemented, uphold those pillars. So the annual update document itself is organized by community pillar, with the updates grouped by goal categories. And the goal categories include things like emergency management, innovation, and major developments, just to name a few. So this first annual update is a great summary of many efforts by the 490 employees across 9 city departments to serve the Livermore community. You can see here a snapshot of the achievements from the past year that enhance the quality of life here. As an example, under our pillar environmental stewardship, which is a commitment to preserving and protecting Livermore's climate and environment and becoming a municipal leader in sustainability. City staff last year converted 27,800 square feet of turf to low water use landscape on city property. And staff also completed a pilot project to detect subsurface leaks, resulting in a savings of 23 million gallons of drinking water per year. And under the pillar A City That Works, staff assisted the city council with issuing 367 mayor's certificates, proclamations, and recognitions, and also communicated consistently with over 135,000 followers and subscribers to the city's social media accounts and e-newsletter. And the achievements that are summarized in the annual update reflect the commitment of the city council, who provide clear policy direction to staff, and the commitment of the entire city organization in collaboration with the community to make this city as great as it can be. The strategic plan can be viewed on the city website at livermoreca.gov/strategic plan. And the annual update document will also be updated to that same webpage by tomorrow. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Comments, questions? Councilmember Kick? If you're used to saying that.
That's okay. Thank you so much for that. I said when I first got here that it doesn't matter what good we do if nobody knows that we do it. And so I really appreciate the format of this. It's very easy to read. It's visual. It's engaging. You want to turn to the next page. You're highlighting those important things like how many gallons of drinking water that we saved. So I just big thumbs up to all the team. There's been a big transformation in the last few years. And it's really cool to see things highlighted that were just an idea a few years ago, like transforming our turf. So sometimes it's hard to remember all of the little good things that we do as a city together, because transforming turf doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But when you piece all of those little squares together, you can really see the major changes we've made just in 3 short years that I've been on this dais. And so I'm excited to see what this update looks like in year 5. And I'm sure it will be a massive number of squares with a lot of amazing statistics. So thank you so much.
Councilmember Branning?
Yeah, I wanted to echo some of that. I think this is an amazing document. You've done just absolutely fantastic work. I want to commend Councilmember Kick. I know that one of her big priorities was improved communications. And so I want to thank her publicly, because I think her leadership on this really has helped improve the city streamlining and getting the word out. My kind of comment, question, et cetera, is just, I would ask that you do everything you can to get this out to the public through every means we have. It's very readable. It's very accessible. You know, cut it into chunks, spread the word on social media. I think people get upset with government when they think their money is just disappearing into a void. And this really does a great job of showing all of the things the city is doing in a very accessible way. So thank you, and just spread the word as far and wide as we can.
Councilmember Burgess?
Okay, I'll say something. From my teaching background, one of the things we taught as teachers is there's different ways kids learn and people. So visual and hearing it and reading it, you have to approach it all different ways. So that some people will look at it one way or read it a different way. So I like your approach. I like the pillars, and I said that a long time ago when you first came up with it. So I appreciate what you're doing here, and hopefully people will take time to read it.
Again, I just loved it. It was a great document. It talks about the 4,000 people that came to our permit counter. Shows that things are getting done, things are getting built, and people are reinvesting in their community. The pictures of Tater and Murphy engaging with the community, just love those. And the hot off the press photo of Vineyard 2.0. What a great shot. Yeah, so it was, and then the highlight in the library, Mr. Hunt touched on that, and then also recognizing the library really is a remarkable, inviting place where the community comes together. So again, get this out everywhere. Get it on Nextdoor and Facebook and all the other platforms that are out there. But this really is It's a great document that shows that we have a vision and this is how we're implementing it. So terrific. Well, thank you very much. It's a great job. Okay, moving on to the open forum. The city clerk will explain how folks can participate.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council's agenda provides opportunity for the public to participate in the meeting by addressing the City Council in the following ways. For non-agendized items, the public has the opportunity during open forum to address the City Council on any item of interest that is within the City Council's subject matter jurisdiction. For agendized items, the public can address the City Council on each item of business it considers when the mayor opens public comment and should be focused on that particular item. Please note, a speaker is not required to answer any questions from the City Council, and the City Council is not required to answer questions from the public. However, the mayor has the discretion to ask staff to address a speaker's comments when a council member believes it is relevant to a particular business item. When participating in tonight's meeting, one comment may be given per person per item. For consent calendar items, one comment may be given for the entire consent calendar. If consent calendar items are pulled for discussion by the City Council, a speaker will be allowed one comment on the items pulled for discussion and a separate comment for the remaining consent calendar. To provide comment, please fill out and turn in a speaker card found at the entrance of the City Council chambers. Speakers will be announced in the order received. Once public comment opens, each participant's name will be announced and their 3 minutes will be given once at the lectern. The mayor will announce the conclusion of public comment period after comments have been voiced into the record. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, let's see, would you call the folks that want to speak at the open forum?
Sure. The first speaker is Donna Cobain, followed by Trish Monroe, followed by Mark Buck.
Good evening. Excuse me. The City Council voted to give the fixed-based operator 2 years to start selling unleaded aviation fuel at the airport. This is too long. The City Council can use airport enterprise funds for a new 8,500-gallon tank for unleaded fuel. The current balance of airport enterprise funds is between $7 to $8 million. That is more than enough to purchase and install a new tank for unleaded AV fuel. Estimates range between $300,000 and $400,000. Why hasn't a new tank been purchased? The city manager said the FBO asked the city not to buy a tank. Why? This is not an acceptable answer. We are not asking for a ban on leaded aviation fuel, only to offer unleaded fuel as an option. At least 10 California airports now sell unleaded aviation fuel, including Hayward, Oxnard, Reed Hillview, San Jose, San Carlos, San Martin, Santa Monica, Long Beach, and Watsonville. The council can direct the FBO to sell UL94, GAMI 100, or both. GAMI 100 will be available by the end of the year. Councilmember McCarling stated that Livermore needs to focus on getting a second tank certified and to start selling unleaded aviation fuel as soon as possible. He said Livermore should be directed by should not be distracted, by future fuel possibilities. We agree. UL94 can be offered now and GAMI 100 in less than a year. Recent testing by Tri-Valley Air Quality Climate Alliance shows that the highest lead air pollution occurs when pilots of piston engine aircraft are communicating with the tower before takeoff. Residents within 1.5 mile radius of the airport are affected. This includes housing in Somerset, Sage, Montage, and Isabel neighborhood specific plan housing. We removed the lead from car fuel. Now we need to remove the lead in fuel for piston engine aircraft. For the health and safety of all Livermore residents, make the purchase of a new tank an urgent priority. Under matters for consideration, please consider shortening the FBO timeline to install unleaded aviation fuel tanks now. Thank you so much.
The next speaker is Trish Monroe, followed by Mark Buck, followed by Carol Silva.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, city staff. First of all, I mostly came because I was so impressed when I read the update to the strategic plan. And I just wanted to say thank you for that and thank you for all the work that you've done over the past year. However, there I was at Trader Joe's and somebody walked up to me with her 10-year-old daughter and she said, I just wanted to thank you because there's now a crosswalk at, shoot, I always get the name wrong. It's not Las Positas, it's the other one. Help me out here. That one, the one where Lawrence Elementary is.
The other one.
Portola, that one starts with a P. And the street is fast and parents were having to walk their kids and they were worried. And all y'all made it happen. This was also an example of working with the of intergovernmental work, working with the school board and a school board member, Christy Wong. I just think it needs to be called out that we can work together as a family, and it really does make a difference. This little girl is now walking by herself. She's not being driven. It matters. Thank you. I'm done.
The next speaker is Mark Buck, followed by Carol Silva.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Mark Buck. I'm a member of IBW Local 595 in Dublin, California. Excuse me. I'm speaking on behalf of the hundreds of Local 595 Livermore residents. I'm here tonight to urge you to include minimum labor standards on the Isabel Neighborhood Specific Plan. I've earned a living in the electrical, construction industry by building fail-safe electrical systems, just like my well-trained brothers and sisters that call Livermore home. Regarding heritage in the Isabel development, all the trades are in talks with them. We have a meeting set up next month. So the steam fitters, plumbers, and the mechanical trades or sheet metal workers are talking with them. So we do have a plan, but we hope to continue negotiating with them. And lastly, IBW local members that believe Livermore residents deserve to be included in building Livermore's future. Thank you and have a good evening.
The last speaker is Carol Silva.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and staff. I want to echo Donna's remarks in regards to trying to prioritize provide the provision of unleaded fuel at the Livermore Airport. But there's also something else that I want to convey to city staff and council members. I'm a member of the Sierra Club Tri-Valley Group. And probably, I can't remember exactly, I didn't look at my notes, but 9 to 12 months ago, we were given a presentation during our monthly meeting from the fixed base operator, Pete Sandu, and he made it sound like unleaded fuel, pilots would love to have that, because it decreases their maintenance cost of aircraft. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. He did mention other items like solar panels and hydrogen fuel, but I mean, unleaded fuel, the GAMI is going to be supposed to be able to be available in California at the end of this year. I don't see why we can't provide 94 UL right now of aviation fuel and then coordinate another tank for the 100 unleaded GAMI fuel. So I don't really understand why Pete Sandu is is trying to make it not prioritize the health and the well-being of our community. I would really like to prioritize that and have it done sooner than 2 years. Thank you.
That concludes open forum.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to close the open forum. Moving on to consent calendar. These are typically items that are routine in nature. It's usually passed with a single motion, but I'll ask first, is there anybody that wishes to comment on the consent calendar?
No public comment, sir.
Okay, with that case, I'm going to close the public comment period on consent, bring it back to the council. Is there anything that anybody would like to have just discussion? Yeah, Councilmember Branning.
Yeah, just a question. I'm not pulling anything. On item 5.4, the Montage Trail connection, do we have a rough timeline on when that will be completed?
Yes, work will start this spring and should be done by the end of June for that project.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Councilmember 5.7, that's the comprehensive financial report audit. I was going to pull the same thing. There's a tremendous amount of work that's done in that. Some of the previous audits and some of the other public agencies I've worked for, I swear that they're on cuneiform tablets, and they're almost illegible, but this one was a very readable document. So if you would just do a presentation on the CFR.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, yes, this is your City Manager again, Mariana Marasheva. We do have a brief presentation that the staff is going to be able to share with you in a moment. And the presentation is going to be by our Administrative Services Director, Tina Olson, and Finance Manager, Eric Pearson. And yes, Mayor, we have quite a lot to celebrate when it comes to our financial audits
There's
as
a
well.
lot of work
Thank
in
you.
that. But one of the things that what always sort of drives me crazy about the audits is they don't really ever say, it's a great audit, yay. They always say, there's no material weaknesses. So they sort of dance it around. Yeah, Eric's smiling. Yeah, sort of dance around that, but I was very impressed with the audits. It's a major document, and thank you.
Thank you. My name's Tina Olson. I'm your Administrative Services Director, and to my left is Eric Peterson, your Finance Manager. And yeah, we were quite pleased with this audit as well. I just have a short presentation to go over some, first explain for people who don't know what this is. So it's the annual comprehensive financial report, and it's audited. Just briefly, what does it do? It identifies the city's assets, and that's cash, investments, and our fixed capital assets by fund. Identifies the city's liabilities, and that's pension, retiree medical, any outstanding debt the city has, vacation accruals, claims payable, also by fund.
For some reason, we're not getting the slides on the monitor down here. They're behind me. There we go. Okay, terrific. Push the right button.
What happened?
There we go.
I didn't do anything.
Excellent.
And then of course the ending fund balances by fund. So that's essentially what it is. And we have the notes, and those explain all of those different assets and liabilities and fund balances, but that's it in a nutshell. And then what gets audited? So first, the auditors come in June and they look at the city's internal controls. And what they're looking for is to ensure our systems and our processes will prevent fraud and theft. That's basically what they're doing. And it's super important to us that we have that in place, obviously. When they come back in the fall, what are they really doing? They're verifying cash. They go out to the banks, they go out to our bond trustee, CalPERS, and they verify cash and all of our liabilities so that when you look at that annual financial report, it's accurate.
Well, one of the things on next door, somebody was asking about the Measure BB allocations for street repairs, for example. And right in this document, month by month, the Measure BB allocations for street repairs. And we talked about that last meeting, but yeah, there's a tremendous amount of information
There is
in
a
here.
tremendous amount of information in here. We also have the statistical section and then the letter that we write, we update all sort of financial information as well as projects that have been completed this past year, so. And of course, I was going to get to then, we also have several reports. We have the ACFR, and that includes all city funds. But then Alameda County Transportation Commission requires separate audits, and that's the Measure B and BB and Measure F. We have to do a compliance with the Proposition 111 appropriations limit. And Jason, what was it again, Roth? We have like about $200 million capacity still in that. Memorandum of internal control, that's where they'll discuss if there was any internal control findings and required communications with city council. So the audit results, it gave us an unmodified clean opinion, 42nd year in a row. So well done. And I just had a note down there. We did have, we had a need to record some of the low-income housing loans from prior years, and we made all of those entries into the system and got in compliance. And that completes the presentation. Open for questions.
Any questions? Okay, very good. Another thing that I wanted to point out on what was that, 5.5, and that was the REACH housing that we have, and the fact that we've got a wonderful relationship with the REACH. And it just shows how difficult it is to build affordable housing in the Tri-Valley, actually anywhere, but especially in the Tri-Valley, and particularly for developmentally disabled adults. So this REACH collaboration that we have is going to have the ribbon cutting next month, as a matter of fact, February 7th. But this is a great collaboration, a great partnership, and just I wanted to highlight the great work that's being done by the city to accommodate those that are quite vulnerable, and that we continue to work for their behalf. So with that, do I have a motion for the consent calendar?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Branning, seconded by Councilmember Kick. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to public hearings. 6.1, this is a public hearing and a landowner election regarding a community facilities district at Arroyo Vista.
Yes, Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council, this is your City Manager, Mariana Marasheva. Item 6.1 is going to be presented by Far Levers, Senior Civil Engineer in the Community Development Department, I think with the assistant of our consultant. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor. There's some language we need you to,
Yes.
okay.
I was going to wait until the presentation. Should I read it before the presentation?
That's the way it's designed, was before.
Okay,
Please.
all right. This is the time and place for the public hearing for the Community Facilities District number 2023-2, Arroyo Vista Maintenance and Services. The hearing is to inquire into the formation of the district and the levy of special taxes for municipal services in the district. Before I formally open the hearings, are there any property owners or registered voters in the district who wish to file written protests? If so, they must be filed with the city clerk now. Oh, now it's that presentation. All right. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Tonight, we are conducting a public hearing for the formation of Community Facility District 2023-2, Arroyo Vista Maintenance and Services. Community Facility Districts are a type of assessment district that provides a funding mechanism for cities and counties to collect funds for new development, infrastructure, or maintenance. Property owners are assessed based on their proportionate share for either construction or maintenance, depending on the level of benefit that the property receives from the improvements. Community Facilities District 2023-2 will provide funding for maintenance of public amenities within the Arroyo Vista neighborhood plan area. The boundary of the CFD, shown here in yellow, coincides with the boundary of the Arroyo Vista Neighborhood Plan area, located along Las Positas Road between the west and east side of the Arroyo Seco Channel. The property consists of a 435-unit project comprised of 2 phases. The first phase, tract 8379, consists of 86 single-family homes and 109 row townhome units, and is located on the west side of the Arroyo Seco Channel, along Las Positas Road. The second phase, tract 8689, consists of 132 row townhomes and 108 duet flats, and is located on the east side of the Arroyo Seco Channel. TrueMark Homes was conditioned to participate in a CFD to maintain the Arroyo Vista Neighborhood Plan amenities. To fulfill this obligation, TrueMark has submitted a petition to the city to initiate formation of the CFD. The special amenities within the Arroyo Vista Neighborhood Plan to be maintained by the CFD include the following: a multi-use trail located along the west side of the Arroyo Seco Channel, and landscaping improvements along Las Positas Road at both tract 8379 along the west side and tract 8689 along the east side of the Arroyo Seco. The CFD includes an optional contingency item for the future long-term repair, replacement, and maintenance costs of the pedestrian bridge. Construction of the pedestrian bridge is a requirement of the original entitlement, but the developer is planning on pursuing an in-lieu alternative to the bridge that would provide the city with funding for additional community benefits such as bike lanes, trails, and pedestrian pathways. The in-lieu bridge alternative will require a site plan design review modification, which will be sent through Planning Commission and City Council for review in the future. Staff recommends City Council adopt 2 resolutions, one to form the CFD and one to call for the CFD election, then take a break to conduct the election, then adopt a resolution declaring the results of the CFD election and introducing an ordinance to levy the special tax within the CFD. This concludes staff's presentation. We are available for questions together with our consultant, Tim, from NBS Government Financial Group.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, with that, I'm going to close the public comment period. Any comments or questions from the council? Okay, on page 597, it talks about on the ballot language itself, it says that, there we go. Shall the city of Livermore's measure to authorize an annual appropriations limit of $10 million for the CFD be adopted? $10 million. So what if it's more than that, or do we anticipate that it never will get more than that?
At this time, staff believes 10 million is the correct amount. The way we develop the $10 million limit is by taking the maximum cost we could potentially spend in 1 year for both landscape maintenance and the optional bridge maintenance and repair costs, and then tripling essentially that number, rounding it, and there we ended up at the $10 million conservative number. And no, staff does not believe we would
Okay.
ever exceed that number.
Okay. I think if the bridge collapses and we got to replace it in 1 year.
Exactly. Not ever, but
But
yes,
you
if
said
it
it's 3
was.
times that, so it's got a cushion of 300%. So okay, we're good with that.
Thank you. The annual special tax is in the $130,000 range. So that, yeah, that appropriations limit is how high the moon, you know, if you were spending that much capital in 1 year.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. We may now consider and adopt 2 resolutions. One, to adopt the resolution of formation of a community facilities district, and 2, to adopt a resolution calling for a special landowner election for a community facilities district. Is there any council comment? Okay, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, will the clerk please open the ballots for this election and announce the result of the property owner vote? Secret ballot, right?
Mr. Mayor, 1 ballot was received. The ballot represents 30 votes, and it was voted in favor of the ballot measure. As a result, there are 30 yes votes and 0 no votes. The ballot measure passes.
Okay, with that, the record shows that at least 2/3 of the property owner votes are in favor, 30 out of 30, of the levy of the special taxes and the establishment of the appropriations limit. We may now proceed with the final actions for the district, and that is to, one, adopt a resolution declaring the results of the special landowner election, and since that election is successful, to direct the recording of notice of special lien, special tax lien, and two, introduce an ordinance waiving the first reading, levying special taxes within the CFD. Are any comments? Okay, is there a motion for approval? Moved by Councilmember Barrientos,
Second?
seconded by Councilmember Kick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, passed unanimously. Okay, this completes tonight's proceedings for the districts. And there we go. This concludes the proceedings. All right. And if we get like one of these every few years, so it's going through the rehearsal every time. Okay, with that, moving on to committee reports and matters for consideration. Councilmember Barrientos. Any report out?
I didn't add on my little whatever. I went to that community service festival down in Pleasanton. And Bill Nice, there's 45 groups that were there. Presenting their from the Red Cross to Open Heart Kitchen. There is really well attended. What I looked at impressed me the most is there are like maybe 80 kids there, high school kids running all over the place doing kind of work. Some work. The guy who was running it said that there are so many children, high school kids there. Some were there were too many. Some were sitting outside. They were just overwhelmed with the volunteers that the kids came over and helped. And I was thinking maybe we should do it here. And he said if we did it in Livermore, the groups will come over here too, and do a community service orientation or whatever they want to do. They had a lot of things going on that it was impressive. So if you're interested or a city interested, we can do it. Otherwise, maybe the Lions will do it.
Yeah, that's great because we have our community service day.
Yeah.
And before the pandemic, we had over 1,000 people show up at community service day. And the last go around, we're still getting into it. We had, I think, 350 the last time around. It wasn't raining that hard. I was out there. But no, I think that, yeah, any chance that we have to get the community involved, I'm actually all in favor of. So that's terrific. And we have our, the Livermore Youth Advisory Commission put on that fantastic Climate Action Summit that was really quite remarkable. And that was very well attended also. Great.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Marianne and I were digging holes, right?
Yeah. We were out there together
Yeah,
in
you were there,
Springtown.
yeah.
Yeah, I was helping. All right, great. Thank you.
All right.
Councilmember Branning.
Sure. I don't have too much to add, but I just wanted to highlight one of the things from my report out, which is I am now a representative for the East Bay Division on the Cal Cities Housing and Economic Development Policy Committee. It's kind of a big thing that really sets up kind of Cal Cities direction on how they want to approach housing, and Cal Cities is a group that has some pretty serious influence on the laws that will be enacted in the future. So people who are interested in housing and economic development, if you have comments or anything you want me to bring back to this group, I'd be happy to. So please reach out. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Kick.
I have nothing official I need to report, but I did get to go on a really cool bus tour at Gillig. And I did not realize how many ways you could make a bus. They're all on the same manufacturing floor, but it was like going to get frozen yogurt, picking whatever topping you want. What kind of seat do you want? What kind of rails do you want? What kind of stickers do you want? So it was very cool. And it's even more special that this organization is still very family oriented. Lots of generations work there, and they have very strong union contracts. And it's a really awesome place that we have in our city. And I've never got to see it behind the scenes before. So they do open it up every once in a while. So go see some buses. They're pretty cool.
And they're working on hydrogen buses. And one of the things was kind of cool is, as you pointed out, there are, in some cases, there are 3 generations of families that work there: grandfather, father, and son. So, and as we were going through there, I recognized that one of the staff members there is someone that I grew up with, and she's been there for over 50 years. So it's she started in the elementary school. So it's a great company, and it's a great asset for our community. Most of the stuff that I had in my report out was from the U.S. Conference of Mayors. The Tri-Valley mayors go out to Washington, D.C. to the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and we have an opportunity to not only learn from our fellow mayors and listen to members of the administration. We had Anthony, Secretary of State. Help me here, people. Blinken, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anthony Blinken. I'm glad everybody else was silent on that one too. Anthony Blinken spoke, and but we had the opportunity to meet with Senators Butler and Padilla, and also our Congressman Garamendi, Swalwell, and DeSaulnier. So we talked about issues that are very important to us and to the Tri-Valley. And what's important is that we go back as mayors as a region. We don't go back as individual cities. So we talked about Valley Link. We talked about the importance of mental health advocacy. We talked about climate change. We also talked about homelessness and the importance of affordable housing. And Valley Link came up a number of times about connecting the mega region and connecting the jobs to the housing. So great reception back in Washington, D.C. They understand it, and they certainly support us. So it's great to have that opportunity to go back and speak as a region, because they understand that that we do have a much louder voice that way. Also had a great presentation from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and Sandia as well, and they certainly appreciate the support that they get from the Tri-Valley. So with that, there being no further business coming before the city, meeting's adjourned. We'll see you in February.